Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Arlene Diamco, the multidimensional MD. My mission is to help bring the intuitive spirit back to medicine in practical, intangible ways so that we can access deeper healing and experience more peace, love, and joy in our everyday lives. For today's episode, I am so happy and honored and excited to be able to talk about etheric body healing. And the reason I want to talk about this today is because I have a whole background in energy medicine, in osteopathy, integrative medicine, quantum healing, matrix energetics, homeopathy, flower essences, and my own training in intuition and development. And I was reading this document earlier this year about how wouldn't it be great if health and healing and medicine, osteopathy, and these different concepts were a part of regular education? And then when you went to if you became a physician, it wouldn't take as long. And then also everyone would have access to this wisdom and knowledge and being able to take care of themselves and access that health from within. And so I thought I would adapt many of the things that I learned into this concept of understanding the etheric body and being able to work with that and use that for your own self healing. And then also be able to take care of your families and your loved ones. Because the thing is, we are multi dimensional beings. Our 3D physical bodies are part of our human being, but not the only part. There are many dimensions to our being, and they are embedded within each other. They are interpenetrating, seemingly existing in the same space, but on different dimensions. Now, that can be hard for our minds to wrap around because we're used to seeing the world in this visual 3D lens. But you can think about this example, and this is from the Edgar Casey readings of a book. Think about a book. So a 3D book, like my book here, is this is a physical copy of the book. It's 3D. It has it's a hardback. It has pages to it. It has paper with print on it. That's the 3D part of a book. But if you actually read the book, then you start to go into another dimension. So the act of reading the book, you could say, is considered fourth dimensional, or at least a higher dimension than 3D. And then if you take that a step further, being inspired to action by a book is considered fifth dimension and on up. And that is those are the dimensions of the heart field, the fourth and fifth, and then this access to all these other dimensions. We have many examples in our life of how multidimensional we are. So think about if you think about a loved one or a friend, a family member, and then suddenly they call you right after you thought about them. What is that? What is that connection? There is something that is more than the 3D here. You might have these telepathic connections with your pets, and they're not speaking out loud. I mean, not in the same words that we are, but somehow you know their needs. You can understand them. You can read them, just like you're reading books. So you can start to understand these multidimensional nature. It's actually completely normal and natural for all of us to access because we are multidimensional beings, and it is our nature to be able to have access to ourselves and all of our dimensions. Now, in terms of what is the etheric body and what does that have to do with health and healing? So, the etheric body is a part of the body's subtle energy field, which we can call the biofield or the aura. And it's closely related to the physical body, to the physical 3D body. So that I consider it like it's like the next dimension up from the physical body. And so that etheric body is this bridge to our higher dimensions. So if we can understand our our etheric body, then we can also access these higher dimensions. The etheric body also carries with it the original blueprint for optimal health. And disruptions to the integrity of the etheric body can also impact our physical 3D health. So, by that reasoning, by restoring the organization and harmony of the original etheric field, we can also access optimal energetic patterns for rejuvenation. That is remarkable. And so there are many examples I have with this with patients. So we can do a physical treatment and shift the tissues in a 3D way, working with just the physical. But if there isn't an energetic shift, or there isn't a shift in these other higher dimensions, including the dimensions of mental thought, emotional dimensions, then the energy that created a pattern in the physical might still be there in the energy and these other dimensions, including the etheric field. And so, whatever issue was in the tissues would be more likely to return if these other dimensions are not addressed at the same time. There are also machines that can detect the energy field in various ways. There isn't any consensus on which is the best one to use. I know that Joe Dispenza, he uses the BioWell to measure before and after treatments. And but hopefully I'm thinking that these machines will be even more developed in the future, and they will start to be more commonplace in medical research. The Consciousness and Health Initiative, CHI, that's Shamini Jain's organization. They are looking into this and looking into the research in these biofields so that we can start to be able to talk about it in many different ways, not just the perceptual understanding or the awareness understanding, but also in that cognitive understanding of being able to collect data. And I encourage everyone to always collect their own data points and to be able to file those away over time. So anytime that you're learning something new, you can try it this way and try it another way and then see what happens in your life. So and your own experience can create data points for you so that you can start to train your mind and decide what is the path of ease, and so that you can start to step into the path of ease more intuitively, more efficiently, more naturally. And I'm going to go through a few exercises here for the how to be able to use the etheric body, how to be able to access it really simply and naturally. So we're going to go through, there's going to be 3 exercises. The first one is an energy ball exercise. And if you rub your hands together like this, and then just pretend like you have this energy ball between your hands. And just the idea of it, just playing with the idea of it and moving your hands back and forth like this. And you can turn your hands in one way or the other way. And then just keep playing with this idea that you have an energy ball within your hands. You can make it whatever color that you would like it to be. And just let this energy ball continue to grow and grow. And then anywhere that you might feel that you need energy in your body, then you can use this energy ball to help you in your healing. And these are very simple exercises, and there is so much detail that we can go through in this. But say our lower energy center here, which is often called a dantian, this is a good place to kind of help store up our energy. So as you grow this energy ball, and it can be whatever color that you feel that you need. There's a lot of detail to the colors, but for now, just whatever color, or you can just be like white, light, and that includes all the colors. And then just kind of mold it like this, like as if you have this sphere in your between your hands. And then you take that energy ball, and then I want you to bring it into your lower energy center. And then just let that meld into the energy field of your body and see what you feel with that. Sometimes people feel tingling or warmth or some increase in energy. Just play around with it. See what you feel before and after. You take this energy ball and then you gently place it into your lower energy center. So if my thumbs are here, right, making a triangle right at my belly button, then that would be your lower energy center, making a triangle below that. And then these are just simple experiments for you to play around with. The second exercise is for the energy field massage. And this is something that I talk about in my book, I Am Intuitive, a multidimensional guide to embrace your inner light. So, again, you can just warm up your hands again by rubbing your hands together. And the reason we rub our hands together is that it wakes up our palms and all the sensory input there. And so your awareness goes wherever tends to follow your hands too. But as we wake them up, then it wakes up our awareness so that we're more likely to notice more. And so you can do that and then just gently kind of massage through your field, your energy field that is right around your body. So the etheric body is again more closely the of the higher dimensions, it is most closely related to the physical body. And so it will tend to be somewhat closer to the physical body, but it does extend beyond the physical body. And so if you kind of comb through your field like this with your palms all around you, you might be able to notice like some areas that have just more spikes or ripples or feeling of static in it. And then you just use your palms to kind of gently smooth out that static anywhere in your field. And as I'm doing this, it feels really good. I'm like, "Oh," it's like I'm like, "Oh, this must be what the pets feel like when I'm, like, petting my dog or giving them a belly rub." I'm, like, giving myself my own petting and, like, belly rub, but through the energy field, and it just brings this grounding sense to the body, and I like to start from the head going on down just because we tend to have a lot of energy up, towards our heads because we tend to overthink and have these looping thoughts or worries. And so that helps to bring this energy, literally grounding it towards the ground. So keep doing that until you get all the way to your feet and see if you can make that feel more harmonious. So if you have this feeling of like static more in some areas, then see if you can just keep petting your energy field and smoothing it out until you bring it all the way down and so it feels more harmonious throughout. Again, these are really easy exercises and you can, try it out with your animals or your kids. Just give them the little energy massage that's right above their physical body. It could be within a few inches of that. And see how they respond to that. See what they feel as well. So notice what you feel and then observe for what other people feel or what your animals, what they feel. So this third exercise is this stardust expansion. And I've talked about this before because this was I figured out how to do this early on in my exploration of the energy body when I had um, dropped a tile outside on my finger and the fingernail turned black and blue and then eventually fell off and then the fingernail didn't grow back for several weeks until I learned how to play with the energy. And so I call this the stardust expansion because if you remember that we are made out of the elements of life, the six most essential elements of life are CHNOPS, CHNOPS. That stands for carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur. And the CHNOPS elements are also the same elements that are made in stars. It literally makes stardust. So these elements are made in the core of stars and then are spread throughout the galaxies, and they make the interstellar dust. This is like the stuff of life that's literally like flowing around. And so if you remember that, anytime there's an area in your field that feels like it could use more life to it. So, for example, when I had dropped that tile and my fingernail didn't grow back, I was playing with my energy ball. So, you can do that again. But then I was also playing with the fingers. So, noticing that light or that energy between the fingers and then seeing if it was symmetric. And so, what I noticed was that the finger where the fingernail was not growing back, it's like the energy finger was like a little stub compared to these nice long light fingers that I could feel coming out from my other fingers. And so if you just pretend like you're made out of stardust, it's like where in your body could use more feeling of stardust. And so for the example of my finger, I could just like sprinkle stardust there, or literally just coax out the stardust, expanding the stardust that is already there and creating a more symmetric light finger so that it matched the other side. And you can use this like idea of symmetry to like to help you discern where in your body might need more support, might need your attention in terms of doing this Stardust expansion exercise. You can do the Stardust expansion also in terms of a body scan. So we kind of did the massaging scan, but if you imagined your whole body made out of light or made out of stardust, where does that stardust need to fill in a bit more? And then you can literally take your imagination and sprinkle it in or breathe into it and breathe that light in because it's just like the book. If you the physical book is 3D, reading the book, so the idea of it is a 4D, and then higher dimension to that is being inspired and putting the book into action. So if you take the Stardust is 3D, but the idea of being able to fill something in is a higher understanding. So you have this conceptual understanding, and that's a higher dimensional than just the 3D. Like thought is not 3D. And then if you expand that further into like, okay, be inspired by that, which means take the idea and put it into action. So you take the idea, and even if you just have the imagination of the action, like this, I'm like taking Stardust and sprinkling it wherever it's needed. So take it and sprinkle it wherever it's needed. I did this with a friend of mine who was having some knee problems, and I just had this imagination. I was took some stardust and then sprinkled it on her knee, and she said that at that moment she could feel all this warmth, and then the discomfort that she had felt in her knee started to dissipate. I know that sounds like fantastical, but there are so many stories of this happening, that for me, it starts to be more of the norm, and I would love for it to be the norm for more people too. And if we start to talk about the etheric body and start to understand the different dimensions, then we can start to see like it's both an art and a science. So yes, there's the how do you use it, but it's also the science of it because there are many dimensions to our being. And if we can understand that, then we can learn to work with the different dimensions of our being and access them. And so I have put together a lot of what I have learned and adapted it for everyone to learn because that is my hope, and that would be such the ideal that everyone can access and everyone can learn about health and healing in a safe and practical and efficient way. Because there's many things that we do in the cranial osteopathic world or in medicine where it's like you do need a really good understanding of anatomy and physiology to be able to practice medicine safely, to be able to practice cranial osteopathy safely and effectively. um, so but how can you understand health and healing and be able to have some effects that can be profound in a way that's still safe and efficient? And so what I've done is taken these ideas and concepts from my background and my experience and what I've learned for myself and developed in terms of my own intuition is I put it together in this 2-day weekend course called Etheric Body Healing. And this is for people that are curious about health and healing and would love to grow personally and or professionally through energy healing. And again, we'll get to learn about the etheric body, that subtle energy field that is closely related to our 3D physical body, but gives us access to higher dimensions and helps us access this original blueprint for optimal health. And if you learn to restore that, then things just get so much easier because if you are working with the higher dimensions, they inform our physical body. And we know that from many studies that our thinking affects our body and our energy also affects our physical body. So this course is for any curious person that is would like to understand their multidimensional nature, there are no prerequisites to take this course, and you this is going to be here in my office, and I will have my teaching partner, Dr. Jim Gatus, to be joining me so that there will be lots of one-on-one feedback for people. And this is going to be on January 24th through January 25th. It is a weekend course. We want to make it available, so if anyone wanted to hop on down to the Atlanta area and join us here, then you'll be able to do this. It starts on 9 a.m. on a Saturday and finishes on at 3:30 p.m. on Sunday. And so, what will you learn in etheric body healing? The optimal blueprint for health. You'll learn about the nature and characteristics of the etheric body, how to begin to perceive the etheric body, how to discern if there have been disruptions to the etheric body, and what might disrupt the etheric body, how the etheric body acts like a battery, how to create a safe space for healing, how to restore and stabilize the integrity of the etheric body, how to access the original etheric blueprint, and how to put these etheric body concepts together in a practical way. So, that is the art and science of etheric body healing. So, I hope that you'll be able to join us if you feel called to do that. If so, go to my website, allworldshealth.com, and you can learn more about that. You can go under events and click through there. If you have any questions on the etheric body, then I would love to hear from you. You can please drop your comments in the comment section here if you're watching on YouTube. You can also connect with me on Instagram at All Worlds Health, on Facebook, All Worlds Health and Pediatrics, and on my website, allworldshealth.com. I send out a newsletter about once a week, usually on Wednesdays. And I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you anywhere in the world you are. And even if you can't go to this one, maybe consider it for the future. Or if you know somebody that might be interested in this, people that are more empathic in nature or feel like they're more sensitive this course would be great for them because they are able to navigate those sensitivities and use them in a really useful way. And even if you don't feel like you're a really empathic person, but you're have a passion for learning about energy medicine, then we would welcome you to join this course. It's our first time having this course for etheric body healing. I more often teach physicians and osteopaths, but we are really looking forward to bringing more of these concepts about health and healing and the etheric body to everyone, because like I said in the beginning, my mission is to bring this intuitive spirit back to medicine in practical and tangible ways so that we can all access greater healing. So lots of love to all of you. Thank you for being here if you made it to the end. I believe in you, and I hope that you believe in you too. I'll see you next time on another episode of the Multidimensional MD. Happy holidays. It's Dr. Arlene Diamco. See you next time. Bye.